is the 77 WABC minicast.
Rich Lowry is the editor of the National Review. He's on this show every week. His stuff is often syndicated in the New York Post. He's on Fox News all the time. Richard, how are you, buddy? How's your morning so far?
What's up, Sid? Did you follow the World Baseball Classic?
I didn't watch it. I didn't care. I'm sorry. Listen, I'm as patriotic as they come, and I watched every second of the hockey, and I'm going to watch every second of the World Cup. But for some reason, the baseball World Cup, I never get into it. I don't know why.
I enjoyed it. It is contrived. Like they had a color segment on one of the Italian players visiting Italy for the first time. So anyone with a vowel in their last name, they put on the Italian team. But it was enjoyable. But it's nothing like the Olympics.
Yeah, no. And again, like I said, I don't like soccer. I like baseball more than soccer, not even close. And I'll watch a boring 2-1 baseball game without complaining. But if I see a 1-0 soccer game, I'll bitch and scream for hours. But I just can't get into the World Baseball Classic. I don't know. I do want to ask you, though, about Mamdani. Here we are, St. Patrick's Day yesterday. I had on this program yesterday, Rich, a guy named Bill Donahue. He's been the president of the Catholic League for 33 years, and he still is. And when I started mouthing off about Mamdani, about all the issues and walking with the police when he hates the cops and Jessica Tisch and all that, Bill Donahue read up a list of about 10 other things, specifically about the Catholic Church, how he did not invite Cardinal Dolan to his inauguration, how he never went to Ronald Hicks, the Archbishop, when he was installed. Just a laundry list of things that Mamdani has done, not just against the Jewish people, but against Catholics and Christians as well. And here it is, his very first speech on St. Patrick's Day morning. Right, you're laughing. And he finds a way, this creep, he's such a creep, to include Palestine, Gaza, and call Israelis genocidal. You tell me, Rich, is this guy not the biggest creep in the history of New York politics?
I'm totally with you. Of course he made it about Palestine. Everything is about Palestine. He's obsessed with Palestine and can't see anything else. So I much preferred, I heard Pete King on WABC's coverage of St. Patrick's Day, and he was great. He talked about the Irish, talked about how much they love this country. That's all you need. You don't need a disquisition on Palestinian rights on St. Patrick's Day.
I actually had Pete King on this show yesterday morning, too. I know he was on live on the parade later in the day, but he was on with me. And I don't know if you know this, but Peter actually got intimately involved with Bill Clinton on the Good Friday Treaty, which basically stopped all the aggression between the United Kingdom and Ireland. That's what you want to hear. Not about some lady, some president, and the LGBT community in Gaza, where this moron, this mayor, should know that they'll kill those people in a millisecond.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that never enters these people's worldview. They think because they're oppressed and they are anti-Western that they're an ally. So it doesn't matter whether they're terrorists, whether they kill gay people or whatever. They must be good because of the people they oppose. And of course, Israel is high on the list.
Oh, very high, and Bibi, but that's okay. I know better. Be honest with me, Rich. You're one of the smartest guys I know. I tell you that all the time. I'm not just patronizing you this morning. You're very smart. You know a lot of stuff. Did you know a lot about Joe Kent before yesterday? What? The world is freaking out over Joe Kent. I got to be honest. I thought he played second base for the Mets.
Yeah, he sounds like a player to be named later, right? Who was Kent? It was Jeff Kent. It wasn't Joe
That
Kent.
was Jeff, yeah. He just made the Hall of Fame, actually, and he was a Met from the Giants and the Blue Jays. But in all seriousness, I know Joe Kent quit, sort of Marjorie Taylor Greene, and he has his reasons. He shouldn't quit. He should just, complain and yell to the president and finish his job. But he quit because he said there's no imminent threat. And I keep saying the same thing. Doesn't that depend, Rich Lowry, on your definition of imminent?
Yeah, there was a growing threat, and you wouldn't want it to be imminent because once it's imminent, it might be too dangerous to deal with, right? So that's why you find some time to go before it's literally imminent. But I did hear of this guy because a lot of people thought he shouldn't have been ahead of the national counterterrorism in the first place, and they were right. He's a Tulsi Gabbardite. He's an isolationist. He hates Israel, probably hates the Jews. I don't know his heart, but his letter was absurd. This is not a war for Israel. This is not a war that Donald Trump has been tricked in. And I'm sick of these people who they say that they all pretend they like Donald Trump more than I do, but they all pretend he has no idea what's going on, and he's been fooled by a couple people into launching the biggest military operation of either of his presidencies.
Right.
Give me a break.
I know.
No one is pushing this guy around.
Nobody.
No one is leading him around by the nose. He wanted this war, and he's been consistent about it for about 50 years.
No, I know. The Greens and the Carlsons and the Owens, all these lowlives, they've all turned out to be lowlives. Megyn Kelly even. I'm sorry. I know you love her. I liked her, too. I tried. Rich, I tried. I had her on the show 3 weeks ago. I would continue to text her. I would say things to her like, look, I don't believe in your heart of hearts. You're an anti-Semite. But when you start hanging out with people like that, as often as she does, and she loves Tucker Carlson, I hate to say it, by extension, you become one. So I know you love her, but I don't anymore. She's lost me. Are you mad at me?
Anything I have to say to her, I would say in private. Same thing I would do with you if anyone asked me about it.
But is there anything inaccurate about what I said without judging her particularly? You start hanging out with these people, defending these people. You call Mark Levin a bad guy and Tucker Carlson a good guy. That's not a good look. Bottom line. Well,
I'll tell you my views, and I think Tucker is increasingly insane and is telling malicious lies about Israel almost every other day. Like 2 weeks ago, it was a war supposedly so Israel could take over the Temple Mount and destroy the Al-Aqsa Mosque because a couple IDF soldiers had patches on their patches on their sleeves.
He said that.
It's just nuts. Yeah. And Candace is totally demented, and all the polling shows that MAGA is with the president, as they usually are. The only exception was the release of the Epstein files, and Trump was right about that, and everyone else was wrong about that. But the 80 or 90% of MAGA Republicans are with Trump because they don't like Iran, and they understand it's in our interest to stop Iran from getting a nuke and being able to threaten the region and being able to kill our soldiers all over the region.
Bottom line, Rich Lowry, National Review. Rich, let me get to the Save America Act. I said this earlier. There's a lot of politicians I don't like, and you don't hear about it much on this. Oh, maybe you do a lot. But one of them I really don't like, Rich, is Lisa Murkowski out of Alaska. I don't know why she's a Republican. Mm-hmm. Stop. I can't stand Rand Paul either. Sorry, I know he's got bands out there in Kentucky. I can't stand him. I never liked Mitt Romney. Sue Collins, she scares the hell out of me. There's a bunch of them. But nobody's as bad as this Murkowski. Why would anybody, seriously, anybody who's not named Chuck Schumer or a Democrat be against the Save America Act?
Well, I think voter ID is a great thing. Obviously, people should have to establish that they're citizens before they register to vote. Yeah. The question is whether you want to mandate it federally and whether the actual details of it are practical. And what they're pushing now, I have not followed it closely. I just think this is one where it probably doesn't have 50 votes at the end of the day because of people like Murkowski you're just mentioning. So trying to eliminate the filibuster over it just makes no sense in my mind because Democrats might eliminate the filibuster. They'll certainly try if they get unified control after 2028, God forbid. But they might not be able to, so you don't want to put a loaded gun on the table just waiting for them because I'm not sure what else, other big things we'd want to do that would even have 50 votes. Whereas if you eliminate the filibuster and they get a Senate majority and a majority in the House and the president will sign it, they're going to make D.C. a state, they're going to make Puerto Rico a state, they're going to pack the Supreme Court, things that are going to be totally irreversible. So I think we got to take an L on this one, unfortunately, and move on.
Well, I don't want to, but I think we're going to. We're not going to have a choice. When you lose, every Democrat's going to vote against it, and you've got Republicans that are going the other way. She
represents. Susan Collins is one thing. She's in a blue state. She's the best we can get, and if she loses, it's going to be bad because there'll be a Democrat there for another 100 years. Murkowski is just so bizarre. She's in a red state, right?
I know.
You should be able to do so much better than she.
I know. I blame for this. I blame my friend Ron Duguay's girlfriend, Sarah Palin. She should have run against her, beating her in Alaska. Well, you're right. I mean, there's no excuse. A red state, Lisa Murkowski. What are you doing?